Let's go today. Inspire your troops today. Inspire your troops today.
If you guys want to be remembered forever, this is how you do it.
All right. We win the game. This is a legendary defense. Put an exclamation point on your work.
It's over, folks. The Pittsburgh Steelers have won the Super Bowl for a sixth-time unprecedented.
It's time now for Black and Gold Central Radio, exclusively on the Pro Football Central Radio Network. Let's get those terrible towels waving. And now your host, Mark Batista.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Black and Gold Central Radio on the Pro Football Central Radio Network. This is Mark Batista, your host. We have Nik Embernate, the Pittsburgh Steelers undrafted free agent offensive lineman. He's a guard right here on the show. Welcome, Nik.
How's it going?
Nik?
Yeah,
Hi, Nik. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you on the show here. Now, Nik, we'd like to thank you for taking time out of your work, right in the middle of your workout here. We have a 6'4", 300-pound guy in the middle of his workout, so this is pretty big to get him on right now. But just the first question before we get into football, Nik, that I wanted to ask you was, now I know you're about 22 years old right now, and the big news gripping the entertainment world right now is the death of James Gandolfini, the Sopranos star, which happened yesterday. Now, I don't know, you being 22, I don't know if you were maybe old enough to really watch or understand the Sopranos when the show was on. Did the death of James Gandolfini have any impact on you?
Not so much, but my heart goes out to the families that are involved with it. But I mean, growing up, my mom watched the show a lot, so I kind of saw bits and pieces of it, but I wasn't able to watch it too much growing up.
Yeah. You were about 16 when the show went off the air, so you might have been a little young for some of the language on the show, I think.
Yeah, HBO, mom's not letting me watch it and stuff like that.
So, Nik, you're with the Steelers now. You've gone through organized team activities and the mini camp. What, for you, has there been a highlight for you during the Steelers spring practice activities?
Just as far as actually being there, it was always a goal for myself in college and stuff, to play in the NFL. So, the moment I walked through those doors, it was kind of a highlight to myself, kind of like, hey, I accomplished getting here. Now the work starts to actually stay there.
Okay. Now, even though no pads are permitted until training camp, do you think in the practices that you took part in, is there anything football or technique related that you learned that is going to prepare you for training camp?
Oh yeah, I learned a lot of stuff. From our coach Jack McNeil, and then a lot of the older guys. Just learning little nuances here and there. But I learned some pretty good stuff that'll help me with training camp as far as technique wise and what to look for and just how to study your opponent and stuff like that. So I think it'll be beneficial for me going into training camp.
Mm-hmm. So definitely an educational process for you, would you say?
Oh yeah, because the main part was just trying to learn all the plays and learn the playbook and all the new terminology. So that's a lot of work in itself. So that, and then going along with a little technique wise here and there, whether or not it's run blocking, pass blocking. So all that stuff will help.
What's the NFL playbook like compared to a college playbook?
Well, it's a lot of the same. It's a lot of the same concepts, but it's just a lot different terminology than down here where I played at San Diego State. So that's the big learning curve right there. Just learning what the hell they call stuff terms to down here where I played.
Right. Okay. Now, Nick, did you have any contact or workouts with the Pittsburgh Steelers before the draft?
I had one. I flew in for one visit, just a pre-draft visit.
Okay. Did you work out for them at all, or just talk to them?
Just talking and medical stuff like that, because I didn't go to the combine.
Okay. Now, another thing that Nik Embernate does besides play offensive line for the Steelers is he's a blogger here on Pro Football Central. Now, I believe that you blogged that you weren't sure if you were going to watch the draft. Maybe you were going to go to the shooting range. What did you decide? Did you actually watch the draft, Nick?
I watched the first round, and then the second day I went out to the shooting range with my dad and stuff like that. And then on Saturday I actually watched it, and it was probably one of the most nerve-wracking experiences that I could have ever had.
Tell me about that, because now, were you hoping to be drafted in the first 7 rounds?
I always hoped for the best for myself, but at the same time I was preparing myself to go undrafted. So I wasn't trying to get my hopes too up, but at the same time, I know I wanted to, but it was pretty nerve-wracking, to say the least.
Yeah, just picks go by. So you must have been, there's hundreds, literally hundreds of names that are being called. So every time a name is announced, you must have been on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, that's for sure. Once it got close to the 6th and 7th round, it was if I didn't have hair or to start, I would have been pulling my hair out.
Well, that's convenient. Wow. Now, okay, so then you did get picked up by the Steelers after the draft, and it's from what I've read and understood, that can kind of be a free for all. Teams are calling players and agents, and it's sort of teams get players sort of on a first come first served basis when it comes to undrafted free agents. So, how did the process play out for you?
It was actually felt like it went pretty well. I had a couple of teams call me here and there, but towards the end of it, I kind of had my mind set up that I wanted to come to Pittsburgh and play.
What made you decide that?
Just being part of the Pittsburgh Steelers organization's a big plus. I felt like I would have the best opportunity to compete and hopefully make the team.
Mm-hmm. Now, was this sort of, were you in a situation where you could kind of choose which team to go to?
Yeah, I had a couple, but it was kind of just the best comfort level right there with the Steelers,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you kind of choose by maybe your ability to, or the probability that you could be on the team? Because the Steelers, they kind of don't have a lot of depth. Before you came on, they didn't have a lot of depth on the offensive line. So and there definitely could be some open spots. So are you mindful of that, and were you mindful of that on draft day?
I was a little bit, but like I said, I just wanted to go to a place where I could compete. That's what this game's all about, is competing. So I looked at it as a challenge, not as a easy opening, more of a challenge.
Mm-hmm. One player a few years ago who was picked up as an undrafted free agent told me that it's a lot of players almost prefer to be undrafted and signed after the draft because the team needs you and wants you at that position. Whereas if you get picked up in the 7th round, you might only be chosen because of the position that's available at the time. So, do you agree at all with that assessment?
Yes. Yes and no. It kind of goes back to the same aspect as you kind of always want what's best for you. You always want what's best. Any player coming in always wants to get drafted. So, yes and no. it's good and not so good, I guess, if you look at it.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing that Steelers coach Mike Tomlin values is what he calls position flexibility, which also can be just said in one word, versatility. Now, you primarily played guard in college, but I think I read that you played tackle in high school. So how much experience do you have at tackle and even center, and how comfortable are you playing those positions as well as guard?
Well, I played tackle about 3 games in my senior year because our tackle came up injured, so I had to play tackle 3 games my senior year. So I switched over. They brought somebody else in. So I'm comfortable playing tackle and guard, and even left guard also. And I've actually been working with our quarterback that we had last year, just working on snapping and stuff like that. So I kind of know how to do it.
You mean as far as being the snapping as the center?
Yes.
Okay. All right. But you definitely can play guard and tackle. It could definitely help you make the team. Now, one thing, I mean, you're going to be, you might not have had many chances to practice with him because he had surgery, but are you ready to block for Ben Roethlisberger? This guy keeps plays going. He's always scrambling around the pocket. So, his offensive lineman, you got to keep blocking for, 8 or 10 seconds. You ready for that?
Oh, I mean, it's always a challenge, and I'm up for the challenge. I mean, the times that he was there, I was watching him, and I was kind of in awe with him. I mean, it's the guy that I've seen on TV doing that same thing, and he does it in practice, and it's pretty amazing to watch. So I'm up for the challenge.
Yeah, it must be quite an experience seeing this guy on TV, and then all of a sudden, you see him in person, and not only are you seeing him in person, but you're wearing the same uniform as him.
Yeah, of course.
Now, you had a few injuries in college, Nick, which you played through. You played with a torn labrum. You played with a high ankle sprain. How are you feeling now with those injuries behind you? What's your health like right now?
Oh, I'm great. I'm great.
You got those behind you there?
Oh yeah. All
right, well, we're about ready to let you get back to your workout. What are you doing today? You're doing working on bench pressing and working on the biceps there? Is this what's an offensive lineman workout?
No, I'm actually on the field. I'm doing a lot of running today, so trying to keep up the cardio.
I guess that's important too. You do have to.
Yeah, that's true. But I'll finish my workout here on the field and go inside and in the weight room and work out a little bit inside also.
So you pretty much work out every day from now until training camp, right?
Oh yeah, I got to.
Okay. Well, Nick, thanks for coming on Black and Gold Central here. We really appreciate your time. Right in the middle of your workout, and good luck this season.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Are you looking for an NFL website that doesn't throw rumors against the wall and hope they stick? Then please go to ProFootballCentral.com for up-to-date news and information. ProFootballCentral.com is back and better than ever. We're dedicated to being your #1 NFL fan site, so come check us out at ProFootballCentral.com and experience the difference.
We are with former Pittsburgh Steelers safety Anthony Smith here on Black and Gold Central Radio on the Pro Football Central Radio Network. Welcome, Anthony. Thanks for coming on the show.
How you doing, Mike? Appreciate you having me.
Now, Anthony, before we get to football, I just want to ask, there's one question I want to ask you since the sports and the entertainment world is sort of intermingled. Are you as distraught as I am over the passing of Sopranos star James Gandolfini?
You know what? I had seen that on Twitter the other day, man. I had caught a few shows, and, he was a good actor, and I'm pretty sure he was a good guy. So, my heart goes out to him and his family and all his fans. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, history is repeating itself here, Anthony, because the Steelers have drafted a safety from Syracuse, which is what they did back in 2006, I believe, when they drafted you. Now, in the fourth round of the 2013 draft, they've drafted Shamarko Thomas. Now, do you know Shamarko, Anthony? Have you ever seen him or spoken to him?
No, I haven't. I haven't been back to the Cuse in a while.
Now, have you, I don't know how much Syracuse football do you watch, but have you ever watched Shamarko Thomas play?
I never got to see him play, man. They based on their record and things, they never got too many games televised, so I never got to really see him play. But what's he like? I'd like to know what he's like.
Well, he's been likened to Bob Sanders, the former Indianapolis Colts safety. He's 5'8". He's a little bit on the short side, but actually he might be more like 5'9".
So he's another Tyrone Carter then.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
He pretty much flies around the field there and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, the Steelers they have Troy Polamalu and Ryan Clark. Troy Polamalu is 32 years old. Ryan Clark will turn 34 in December, so I think that they're looking for Shamarko Thomas to be an eventual replacement for one of those players. But Anthony, if you ever did meet Shamarko Thomas, what sort of advice would you have for him?
The advice I would have for him, really just listen to the older guys, man. They really brought me in under their wing. Ike and Shay when I was there, Joey, and just Clark Higgins. A lot of those guys, Casey Hampton, just brought me in under the wing, showed me the ropes, and showed me pretty much how the organization is ran and how they operate, and just how everything goes, and just how to be a part of a winning team. So if I was giving some advice, I would just say just get you a vet that's been there for a while, get up under his wing, and let him show you the ropes.
Is that what kind of happened with you? And probably worked a lot with Troy Polamalu and Ryan Clark, and they're mentoring Shamarko right now. Would you say that they were pretty good as far as mentoring you also?
Oh, man, they were great. The greatest thing about my time there was with me, Ryan, and children being such great, talented athletes, we never really, even though we were all competing, we never really never had a dislike for one another. Like, we helped each other out when we could, and it was all about being a unity, because you're only as strong as your weakest link. So, we all tried to make sure we had each other's back and make sure we were strong, and that's how the Steelers are made, and that's how they win a lot of games, and that's just how they're built.
What do you think about the Steelers now, Anthony? A lot of transition going on. Do you think they can survive losing players like James Harrison?
You know what? Pittsburgh is always they're never in a really rebuilding stage. They always just reload. They always find players to plug in where another great player has left off. It may take a year or two, but they always seem to find that guy. So I don't think it'll be that hard for them to rebound. They'll somewhere find another diamond in the rough somewhere.
Speaking of James Harrison, Anthony, he's another player that you played with. Do you have any interesting James Harrison stories?
Yeah, man. I used to work out with James when I played. We worked out together, man, in the summertime and in the weight room. He's a good friend of mine. We stayed right up the street from each other, me and Charlie, when I was playing, and hung out a lot of team camaraderie. So he's a good friend of mine. What's he got going on now? I've been out to look for a hot second.
James Harrison, he's with the Bengals now.
Oh, they let him go to Chelsea. Uh-oh. They better watch out.
They better watch out.
All right.
Yeah, that could be that could be something to worry about, which is definitely why the Steelers' offensive line needs to be ready to protect them. But now, one thing, Anthony, is you played for a lot of different teams, beginning with the Steelers in your career. But you also played for the Green Bay Packers. Mm-hmm. So who did you root for in, actually, that was the 2010 season. Oh, so wait a minute. You were on the Packers in 2010. So were you actually active for the Super Bowl?
No, I was one of the 25 players on the hour. Man, I had a high ankle sprain that year, so I didn't get to compete against my boys in the Super Bowl, man. But that would have been a dream come true, and it would have been a very exciting moment for me.
Yeah, I mean, were you? Did you still get to be on the sidelines though during the game?
Yeah. I was present, man. My that was my big involvement in the game was, my spiritual emotion along with the other guys who were out, just giving them our spiritual support and, our moral support. So I think that even though you're not in the game, you can still be effective in the game.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you've kind of been on a lot of, as I said, you've been on different teams. So what's the any difference in the atmosphere on each team, in each locker room, and in the way that the teams operate? I mean, between the Steelers, the Packers, or the Titans.
Every team is different. Every atmosphere is different because you gotta, when you go from a team who's used to winning, and winning is a tradition, and you got teams who win every now and then, and some teams are accustomed to losing most of the time. So it's definitely a different atmosphere from the players all the way up to the staff. Everybody's different. So you just got to learn where you fit in each organization, and try to play your part.
Imagine the Steelers and Packers are the similarity. There are probably some similarities between the way those organizations operated. Any differences at all?
Between the Steelers, you say, in Green Bay?
Yeah.
As far as operations, yeah, Pittsburgh, not to say Green Bay doesn't have tough guys, but or Green Bay doesn't have tough guys, but Pittsburgh is really, that's what they're built on, man, around guys who are just cut from that certain type of cloth, and I don't know if, being in the NFC, you don't really have to really have that, I guess. So recruiting-wise, it's definitely different, I would say, and the players they look for and things like that. Because I will say there's a lot more tougher guys in Pittsburgh than there was Green Bay, and that's, not being biased or anything, just being factual and being real.
Mhm. Okay. All right. So, is you last played in the NFL for the Titans in 2011? Is the door open on a comeback into the NFL for Anthony Smith?
No, there probably won't be. I think I'm good, man. Especially the way the game is going now, and I was fine enough when I was playing. So now with them changing the rules even more, I'm probably sure my gameplay I get fined even more and probably be playing for free. So man, I'm good. I'm good. I had my fun. I retired, man. Got to play with some great players, and very humbling experience. And man, I just I don't regret anything about my time I had, my 6 years in it. So I had fun.
So
I can still play though. I just retired.
You can still play?
Yeah.
Well, you're still only 29 years old. So.
Right. I can get out there and take plenty of guys' positions from all the football I've seen play over this last year, man. So.
Oh yeah, there's still some players in the NFL that you could definitely cover.
No doubt.
Well, besides posting updates to your Twitter feed at Ant King Smith, what have you been doing since your career finished?
Well, I'm in the music now. I do my music name is King Khufu. And I also have with my cousin and my family members, we have a production company. I'm into that, set up for shows and concerts and stage draping and lights. And I also have a shoe line I'm involved with a few partners. It's called Flat Out of Heels. So a few business things I get to put my hands to now, that I really couldn't focus on while I was playing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, Anthony, anything do you still hear anything about the guarantee, the 2007 guarantee against the Patriots? Is that anything that anybody comes up to you and talks about anymore?
Every now and then it may pop up, but, I still feel the same about it, man. If you're not on the field and going out to win every game, I don't want to be your teammate, and I don't want you to be in my locker room. So, for anybody who is mad and upset, that I said we were going to win as long as we did what we were supposed to do, I can't apologize for that, and I don't have any explanation for that other than, somebody being weak, and that's about it. Because every player wants to win. If you go in the locker room and ask a player, do you want to win today? If anybody says no or they don't think they can win, like, why would you want that type of teammate? So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so it was really so. So before we let you go, Anthony, is there anything that you want to guarantee right now?
Let me see. I guarantee you'll be hearing me in the music world. You'll be seeing me on TV, and I won't be going anywhere anytime soon. You'll be seeing more of me. So you're guaranteeing as far as we can see you on TV doing what, as a recording artist, or doing what sort of stuff? Yeah, just doing rap music, and I might collab with whoever. A few guys out there I'm doing some music with right now that people will get a chance to see in these upcoming months when we start shooting videos and stuff. So I got a lot of exciting things going on for me, man, and still in the entertainment world, so it's all good. Okay. Well, Anthony, I appreciate your time coming on the show here on Black and Gold Central. Appreciate you having me, man. Anytime y'all need me, just give me a shout.
Hey, this is Marcus Wheaton, wide receiver. You are listening to Black and Gold Central Radio. Well, you have just heard Nik Embernate, Pittsburgh Steelers undrafted offensive guard, and also former Steelers safety Anthony Smith, who has gained a little bit of infamy in Pittsburgh in 2007 for guaranteeing a victory over the 12-0 New England Patriots. It didn't work out so well. But, as he told us, he stood by that guarantee because, you want to be confident that you can win. So he doesn't regret making that guarantee. And make sure to follow both of today's guests on Black and Gold Central on Twitter. You can follow Nik Embernate at @NEmbernate. That's NEMBERNATE. And you can follow Anthony Smith at @KingSmith on Twitter. You can also follow Black and Gold Central on Twitter. And, we'd love to hear your feedback on the show on what you like, what you don't like, what you'd like to see in future episodes. And this is episode 3, by the way, of Black and Gold Central. You also can follow me, Mike Batista, Steel Tweets. That's Steel_tweets on Twitter. And I can take any Black and Gold Central feedback there as well. Now, I asked both of today's guests, both of them younger than 30, what they thought about the passing of James Gandolfini, the Sopranos star. Now, I'm bringing this up because I can relate this indirectly to the Steelers, but this was something that happened yesterday, and I really can't remember of a celebrity death that has bothered me quite this much and had this much of an impact on me. I love that show, The Sopranos, and yes, I do live in New Jersey. I guess you could say I live on the shore. The Jersey Shore, or the beginning part of the Jersey Shore. I don't want to narrow things down too geographically because people coming after me if they get upset about something I say on the show. But and I also want my listeners to know that there is quite a nice little pocket of Steelers fans here in the part of New Jersey that I live in. So this is a very nice little, pretty strong outpost of Steeler Nation out here. But as far as the Sopranos goes, this does relate indirectly to the Steelers because the show first aired in January of 1999. I began watching it sort of, around 2001, 2002, but it first aired in January of 1999, and the last episode was in June of 2007. So the run of that series on HBO sort of spanned quite a long period of time. Kind of had a long reach because in January of 1999, the Steelers, that was the first year of a 3-year playoff drought for the Steelers. In 1998, it was January of 99, but it was the 1998 season. They lost 5 games in a row to finish at 7-9, and they missed the playoffs. And they missed the playoffs for the next 2 years as well, 1999 and 2000. But by the time the Sopranos season finale aired with the famous ending, the fade to black and Don't Stop Believin', it was June of 2007. The Steelers had won that long-awaited one for the thumb, beating the Seattle Seahawks in Super Bowl 40 in 2005. And Mike Tomlin had just been hired as coach. That was during the off-season of 2007. And that sort of coincided with the time that I became a Steelers blogger. I started my Steelers website, Steelers.com, which I did from 2007 to 2010. So, this spanned quite a long time along the timeline of Steelers fans, and so it was kind of just the successful run of that show sort of inspired me a little bit to in a parallel universe kind of try to even just come close to being just a little bit as successful as becoming a Steelers. A Steelers blogger. So now, and of course, I don't have HBO anymore because, mainly because The Sopranos isn't on anymore. And so, I would get HBO just for The Sopranos. But now, the only reason I would ever subscribe to HBO again would be if the Steelers were on Hard Knocks. Of course, the chances of that happening are, very slim. I really can't think of very many other things that, have less of a probability of happening. The Steelers organizational culture, I don't see them ever being on Hard Knocks. But the Cincinnati Bengals will be on Hard Knocks, and what's great, at least on the, I do have the NFL Network, and that I don't regret subscribing to at all. It's probably, that $10 a month is probably the best money I ever spent. But the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be on Hard Knocks, and I don't know if, I think it was it the 2009 season? I think it might have been 2009 when they were on Hard Knocks. I can try to look it up here. But I think that the Bengals, I don't think it's going to be a distraction for them. Steelers fans, we would love to think that, Hard Knocks is going to be this big distraction for the Bengals. And that would help, open the door for the Steelers to, get one of the top 2 spots in the AFC North. Because right now, it looks like, on the pecking order of the AFC North, the Steelers are in 3rd place. The Ravens are the Super Bowl champions. And the Bengals have been to the playoffs for 2 straight years. So, and I think the Bengals are, kind of matured enough as a team and as a franchise to, to not let Hard Knocks be a distraction. And it's going to be entertaining, but so the Steelers are just going to have to go ahead and beat the Bengals, on their own. So I don't think Hard Knocks is going to help them. And I just found it here that the first time the Bengals were on Hard Knocks was in 2009. So the Bengals won the division in 2009, or at least they made the playoffs in 2009. Most importantly, the Bengals beat the Steelers twice that year, and the Steelers didn't even make the playoffs in 2009. So actually, the Bengals being on Hard Knocks could be a bad omen for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2013. So, but we're going to next week we're going to, in our 4th episode, I'm going to start. I'd like to get into the Steelers my projections for the Steelers 53-man roster. We talked today to one of the men who I predict will be on the roster. But we'll go over that. We'll go over, why I think certain players are going to be on the roster, and I'll also go over some players who won't make it and why. And I'm going to see, we might have to split it between offense one week and defense another week. We could do that, but there are 80 days left until opening day of the Pittsburgh Steelers season. They open at home, 1 o'clock, September 8th against the Tennessee Titans at Heinz Field. And there are 36 days until training camp begins, July 26th at St. Vincent College in Latrobe. So it's going to be here before you know it, but in the meantime, we'll go over the Steelers' 53-man roster, and eventually, in future weeks, we'll do the nice win-loss game. Hopefully I can get a guest on so we can play the game. We go over each game on the Steelers' schedule, and we predict whether or not they'll win or lose. That might be fun to do, just before training camp starts, and then maybe again just before the season starts. But next week, we will at least begin the Steelers' my predictions for the Steelers' 53-man roster. And then hopefully we'll have another couple of guests on the show. But we're in full swing here on Black and Gold Central. Next week will be the 4th episode, and thank you for tuning in, and tune in again next week.
This has been a presentation of the Pro Football Central Network. For news, blogs, highlights, and more, log on to ProFootballCentral.com.